Hi everyone, I hope you're doing wonderful out there. My name is Astrid, so nice to meet all of you. And welcome to my first YouTube live video. So, some of you might have already seen me together with Meg, and I want to thank Meg for guiding me along this path. And if you haven't seen our videos together, make sure to check out Meg Moonbeam's channel. And I've also, hi Shia, I've also listed the video together with Meg in the comments below, because in this video I've decided to focus more on each of the 12 signs. And if you want to know a little bit more about how everything is going on a mundane level or in a more political way, you can check out our Astro deep dive video that we've made together. So it's in the comment section below. So I think we can all agree that these are intense times. If you've watched the news or if you've been checking what's going on in the world at large right now, we can all agree that these are very interesting times. So I think with this full moon in Aries today, things can really get fired up even more. So, and she so, on a more personal level, what caught my eye is that I've gotten an email from the post office that my parcel couldn't be delivered because the parcel depot was caught on fire. And because Aries is a fire sign, our first fire sign, I thought that was such a coincidence with this full moon. So yeah, I've received an email that my parcel is undeliverable because the parcel depot was caught on fire. So yes, I think that just points out that these are times where a lot of surprises can happen and um, a lot of unexpected things being revolved around the full moon now. So Aries. Aries is our first fire sign. So it ignites, it inflames things. It is very, very hot burnt energy. And before I dive deeper into the full moon, I want to explain what each of the three fire signs actually mean. And so Aries is like the igniter. It's like the match or like a flintstone. So imagine you're having a campfire with a bunch of friends, and Aries comes along. She gets her flintstone and she sets the campfire on fire. She lights it up. Then the Leo is the second fire sign. It is fixed. So a Leo passes by and he thinks, oh, there's a campfire, but he makes a big party out of it. And maybe the Leo already drunk a little bit of alcohol because he likes to have a lot of fun. And he passes the campfire and he just drinks a little bit and spits some alcohol into the campfire, which is like really burns it up more. So, and Leo is a very protective in its nature. So he's gonna protect the campfire and make sure it's like still it keeps on going. And then by the end of the night, the third fire sign comes along, and that is Sagittarius. And Sagittarius passes the campfire, and suddenly the campfire turns into one big wildfire, because Sagittarius is mutable, is changeable, and it expands a lot of things. So suddenly you're having to deal with this whole big wildfire that's like almost impossible to put out. That's how I like to look at the three different fire signs, because yeah, they bring a lot of spontaneity, a lot of enthusiastic vibes. They're really direct. They're very honest. So yes, fire is a very, very lovely element to have in your chart. So now we have a full moon. And a full moon in Aries, a full moon always stands for a release or a completion that's going to be found in your Aries house in your chart. So if you don't know where your Aries house is located in your chart, you can just look that up online. Just fill in your birth details, and then you can actually see where your Aries house is located. And then you know in which house this full moon is taking place right now. So the effects of a full moon are always noticeable 3 days before and 2 weeks after. But the full and new moons are always completing a 6-month cycle. So if we go back to our new moon, it was actually an eclipse in the sign of Aries, and that was on the 8th of April. So try to go back and think what themes occurred or what themes came up for you during that time. And if we look or think back what happened around around the world and more on a mundane level, because Aries rules war, there was a big conflict and a big escalation between Israel and Iran, because on the 1st of April, so 7 days before the eclipse in Aries, Israel did some strikes. They launched them at the Iranian consulate in Damascus. And then a few days after the eclipse in Aries, we had actually Iran having launched back over 300 missiles and drones to Israel as a payback. So that was like a big escalation between the two nations. So Mars and Aries, they actually rule war, but luckily you're not a country that's under attack. So I've talked more about this in my video with Max. So if you're interested more on these themes, you can check that out in the description box below, and make sure to follow Moonbeam's channel as well. So I'm gonna pull up the chart. So full moon in Aries. As you can see here, the full moon is actually at 24 degrees and it's conjunct Chiron. And Chiron is a very sensitive point in our chart. It's like where our insecurities lie, where we don't believe in ourselves. So it's very difficult to heal a Chiron wound. And so Chiron is called the wounded healer, because if you do succeed in healing those wounds, you can really help others to heal their wounds as well. So some people who are born with a very prominent Chiron in their chart, they are like naturally born healers. And I know some chiropractors who have like Chiron on the sun, and they're like amazing at the job that they're doing, because they're not only like taking care of your body, they're also like making sure all the bad energy is like channeled through them as well. So that makes people with a very prominent Chiron in their chart very, very valuable. But now it's on the moon. So the whole world is like being faced with their Chiron wound. And in the sign of Aries, in the sign of I am. So it's actually about how we express ourselves in an authentic and in a healthy way. And it's like, how do we believe in ourselves? Yeah, it's like a very, very good question to ask yourself of how can I how do I express myself in a healthy way, and how can I really show my unique qualities and really be my authentic self. So that's a very big theme for the whole collective since 2019. So it depends in which house that falls, in what area that will be affecting you actually. So then if we look more closely, we're actually dealing with a big cardinal grand cross. So normally when we have squares, that indicates tension. It can indicate a little bit of challenge, and it can indicate some frustration as well. So if we look more closely, one red line, so from, for example, from the moon to the Mars, that is one square. But a, a cardinal grand cross are four squares combined. So we actually have two oppositions from, of course, the sun and the moon. That's always the case when we have a full moon, but also with Pluto and Mars. And Pluto and Mars, when they are opposite, they're like very big power games. And then we have a full moon in Aries. So the moon is really about our emotions, and it's actually squaring Mars, our power and our drive. And the moon is actually in Aries, and Mars is in Cancer. So they are actually in each other's sign, which is very important. In astrology, they call it mutual reception. So it's like they have like a hotline phone where they call each other and they're like, what are you doing in my sign and how is it going there? So that adds a lot of potency to this full moon. So the Grand Cross involves, of course, the moon and the sun, Pluto and Mars, and it's like, yeah, a very, very big tension aspect that's being seen in the chart here. And also, what's a little bit difficult right now is that a lot of planets are in signs where they don't really like to be in. Some planets are in detriment, some planets are in fall. So a lot of the planets are saying to each other, like, we don't really want to be here, please get us out. So that could feel a little bit stressful as well. And the full moon is not going to affect everyone in the same way. The cardinal signs are going to be most affected. The cardinal signs are Aries for spring, Cancer for summer, Libra for fall, and Capricorn for winter. They are actually the zero degrees of each of the cardinal signs. They are called the world axis. So whenever a grand cross is happening in the cardinal signs, something very big is about to change on a mundane level as well. So that's very important. So the sign of Aries, it's the warrior archetype. It's a very masculine sign as well. It is the sign of self. Aries is like, I am, and it's like your power as well. A very, very empowering sign. It's about staying true to yourself. And it's like Aries people are very, very strong-headed people. They know what they want and they go for it. And when they go for something, they most likely will get it as well. So, and Aries people, they rarely ask for advice because even if they're going to ask for advice, they most likely will do their own thing. So that's funny. If an Aries asks you for advice, that's already rare, and listening to you is even more rare. They know what they want, and they fully commit, and they go all in. And sometimes, that can be a little bit of a downside for Aries as well, because sometimes it's my way or the highway. And with the Chiron and the North Node, it would be very beneficial for Aries or for the whole collective right now to like really look deeper into ourselves and heal the childhood wounds and heal our inner child. Because Aries is the first fire sign. It's sometimes seen as a child. So it's really about how do we heal our deep-seated issues of not being able to authentically express ourselves. So, really like on this full moon, try to not get angry, because it will be a lot more difficult to stay calm and to stay grounded because of all this fire energy and all these squares and all these tensions. It's very easy to get a flare up or to get angry with someone or to point fingers. But the moon on Chiron is saying, like, try to turn the finger at yourself and look where you are lacking right now. So it's a good time to think about the unhealed parts of yourself, and where you don't feel acknowledged fully yet. So yes, Aries is very bold, very energetic. So if you heal those wounds, the more positive traits of Aries will come forward inside of you. It's like being able to take action. It's a very passionate sign. It's very driven as well, driven by their heart, by your heart and your desires. It's like a feeling of being all in. So this full moon is a 6-month extension from the solar eclipse in Aries we had on the 8th of April. So seeds that you've planted then could be harvested right now. Full moons are for completion, culmination, a release, and a letting go. And the full moon now is like, what happens now could also be related to what's going to happen in 6 months, because Aries, we have been going through an eclipse cycle. And on the 29th of March, 2025, we will have another eclipse in Aries, and we're going to close that cycle. So right now we're like a step in between, and the Aries process that's being brought forward right now. So yeah, so a very feisty full moon, very, very action taking, very changeable. And a lot of astrologers are freaking out a little bit about the Grand Cross, which does take a lot of effort to overcome the changes or the challenges that are going to be thrown at you. But just know, like, in my personal opinion, when I had like a lot of trines, everything, yeah, I just like, when I only had good aspects going on in transit in my chart, I actually felt kind of a little bit bored, to be honest. Like, I'm that cardinal sign. I need change. I need stimulation. And sometimes squares give you the motivation and the change necessary to like get out of your comfort zone and really make a change, and just it sets things into motion. So on a mundane level, these big challenges could really affecting a lot of people in a bad way who are in a country where there's a war happening right now. But on a more personal level, this could actually could be a big breakthrough in what you're trying to accomplish. So just know, even though there are a lot of challenging aspects, sometimes we need growing pains and difficult things being thrown at us in order for us to evolve. Because it's very inspiring. You can inspire other people with the things that you've overcome. Like, have you ever been inspired by someone who had like nothing going on in their life? It just doesn't work that way. So and I'm getting a question. Can they hit more than a square or a triangle? So, hi, Ms. Allenorma. Can they hit more than a square or a triangle? Yes, for sure, because a big the cardinal Grand Cross involves 4 squares combined together. So from the moon to Mars to the sun to Pluto. So we have 2 oppositions making squares, actually 4 squares combined. So it's actually way more intense than if you only have 1 square at a time. So I hope that explains it a little bit. And hi Natalie. So yes, I'm gonna start with the 12 signs now. If you have more questions, you can drop them in the comment section, and I'll look at them and answer them as well. So the mini readings for each of the 12 signs. Of course, starting with Aries. So Aries, sun or rising. Yeah, you have a full moon in your first house. So the first house is traditionally traditionally ruled by Aries. So of course you have it in your first house. And it is the house of the sense of self. It is your self-expression and who you are at the core level. So it's actually the house that can give you like a window or insight into understanding more about your outward appearance, your traits and your characteristics, and your outlook, and also a little bit on how people see you as well. Because if it happens close to the rising sign, then it's more applicable for that. So I have a rising in Aries. Does this have an extra influence? Yes, because you have your full moon on the rising. So if you have your full moon on the rising, it's going to affect you in how other people perceive you, and it can also affect your body. So be a little bit more careful about burning while you're cooking, or when you handle knives or machinery, because I know when such a big challenge hits your rising sign, you need to be a little bit more careful, because you're a little bit more accident prone. So, but if you have threats, if you have important places in Aries, this moon is going to feel easier for you than for the other signs, actually. So, yeah. So, for example, that makes me think about, if you have an Aries sun, it's going to be more related to your career and to your father and to your expression of your ego. If you have an Aries moon, it's going to affect your emotions more and your home and the people that you live with. But if you have an Aries rising sign, it's going to be more related to your body and how you present yourself to the world. Then it's everything more about you and who you are, because Aries is I am. And if you have an Aries rising, that's going to affect the body more. So for Aries, we have, yeah, because I'm an Aries as well. I don't know if I mentioned that. So I have a sun sign in Aries. They're very brave, very direct, very honest, and a lot of people could actually be a little bit triggered about Aries or about the Aries energy, because we're so straightforward and we're so direct. It can feel a little bit threatening to people, but we are actually here, and so is this full moon in Aries, to really show people that they actually, yeah, they tend to hide under the Chiron wound of not being able to fully authentically express themselves. And we, Aries, are here to confront them with that wound and to get them out of their prison. Like, we are here to trigger them to like fully embrace themselves, and that it's okay to like be who you are. But yeah, some people just, yeah, like to stay in prison. So then that could be a little bit triggering for them. So we have Pluto in the 10th house, and that's actually been messing a little bit with our career, our social standing, and our reputation for the last 16 years. Because Pluto just went direct a while ago, and it's been there for over 16 years, actually. So we are like wrapping up a very big cycle of having to deal with Plutonian energies in our 10th house section. And that's actually our section of career, of our boss as well, and of authority figures in general. So maybe you dealt with the Plutonian boss. Maybe you've dealt with people who are in a higher position than you, trying to abuse their power over you. The 10th house is also connected to the father figure. So I know a lot of Aries have been dealing or struggling with the father archetype or the dark father archetype in their life. So that's like a big cycle that's going to end now on the 19th of November. So then it will move out of our 10th house section, and it will move into our friendships and social, our big groups of people, communities, that is actually found under the 11th house. So But Pluto is currently making an opposition to Mars in our fourth house. And the fourth house is a very emotional house because traditionally it's ruled by Cancer. And like, yeah, in your chart, it is ruled by Cancer because you're an Aries. So actually, there could be some, yeah, some discussions or conflicts or disagreements in the home area or in your family as a whole or in with the people that you live with together as well. And I'm gonna say, like, don't try too hard to fix the problems that are like that you feel that are missing in your career or in your home area right now, because it could be if you try too hard that it's gonna backlash right now because of all the tension aspects. So while Pluto is wrapping up its final month and Mars in our fourth house of family, there could be like very big tension between our career and our home life right now. And if we're going to fight that tension, that could actually only become worse. It is better to surrender and try to attract the good things to you, and don't go after too much, don't fight too hard for it, because otherwise it's gonna have a bad impact on your personal one-to-one relationships, because Mars is squaring your sun in the seventh house of one-on-one relationships, close relationships. Marriage falls under that house as well, and also your business partners are in the seventh house. But yeah, it's known that Aries are wild birds. They're fiercely independent, and we like to initiate a lot of things, but we can have difficulties in like finishing projects. So because I have so many I'm interested in so many things, and that's why I always have difficulties of finishing up my tasks. So I think that's one of the big lessons for Aries, is like the commitment issues, because we have to do a lot of things, but like we only want to do it if we're interested in it. And if we have to do too many things that doesn't trigger us in the right way, we can get very easily get bored. And if we get bored, that can be a little bit dangerous for the people that we live together with. So um, yeah, so right now with this Mars in your fourth house, in your section of the home, try to be not too abrasive, not too direct, because Mars is slowing down right now, and it's going to turn retrograde very soon on the 6th of December. So a lot of conflicts regarding the home area could come up, and that can really like change our sense of selves, or how we identify ourselves, because it is making a square to the moon in the first house. So yeah, it's like what must be let go of in myself, because the first house is a reassessment of how you express yourself, and maybe something needs to change in the Aries for them to express themselves in a more healthier way, which will then reflect very beautifully to the seventh house sun, and could really like smoothen over or smoothen out your relationships to other people, because the seventh house is the house of Libra and rules the other. So it could also be a time where you feel like some of the relationships are not working out for you anymore. So it's important to ask yourself which ones are fulfilling and which ones do I keep just out of habit. Big change can be coming in that house with this full moon now. But so maybe you change something in yourself, and that has like a very positive effect on your partnership or on your marriage, and like the whole dynamic starts to change. So that could be a very beautiful manifestation of this full moon. So yeah, the four big cardinal houses are under a big change. So house 1, house 4, house 7, house 10 are all gonna undergo a big change and a big shift, and that's gonna keep on happening until our eclipse in Aries next year at the end of March. And then our lucky planet, Jupiter, is currently located in our third house. So you can see it here, the third house. And Jupiter is moving retrograde, so it's moving back towards the rising sign if you are a rising Aries. So that's a very positive, because that means that a lot of luck can happen in the house of communication, of thinking, of your brothers and sisters. So maybe you're teaching something, maybe you're speaking about something, maybe you want to teach your knowledge, because Jupiter is also the planet of wisdom. You can have very much lucky happenings if you take short-term trips as well. So yes, all the third house teams are providing a lot of luck. The social media is also part of the third house, so there's an expansion in that, an expansion in your bond with your siblings, your nephews, your cousins. So that is a house of luck right now. So that was it for the Aries. I'm gonna quickly read the comments. Natalie, she says, now I get myself a little bit better. My star sign, my sun sign is Pisces, and my rising sign is Aries, which is sometimes very feisty. Yes, Natalie, I totally understand you, because I have a sun sign Aries, but I have 4 planets in Pisces. So that's a very contradictive energy, because Aries is the first sign and Pisces is the last sign. So that can be sometimes a whole lot to handle. And it's not always easy to balance out these two completely different energies in yourself. So Pisces is very dreamy, very sensitive, but then the Aries rising is very, very feisty and can be very direct. So yes, to balance these two out, I sometimes have difficulties with that as well. So thank you, Natalie. And then Maison Lenormand, are the planets going clockwise or against the clocks, like with the houses from 1 to 12? Well, so it's counterclockwise. So the planets, most of the time, they move from Aries to Libra. So from left to right, counterclockwise. But when planets turn retrograde, and most planets do that 1 time a year, other planets like Mercury does that 3 times a year, then they actually switch their motion and they go towards in another direction. It's an optical illusion that we witness here from Earth. They're not actually going backwards in the sky, but it's how we view the planets from Mother Earth here in the sky. And these are times when planets, like their manifestation or the way how they work kind of shifts. So when Mercury turns retrograde, Mercury is closest to the Earth. So we can view that as there is too much Mercury happening right now. So that's why we sometimes have difficulties with emails or with parcels that don't get delivered, or a lot of appointments that can change. So that can be like a more hectic time. But whenever a planet turns retrograde, it wants to it wants you to dive deeper into yourself. The planet is saying like, hey, I'm not going forward right now. I'm going to turn retrograde. I'm going to turn direct. It is time to review, reassess, and really dive deep into yourself and see where adjustments can be made. So, for example, Jupiter went into Gemini since June, and it's been going retrograde since the 9th of October. So all the gains that you've had since June until now, they are now up for review until February. So look at where gains have been happening for you since June, And now look more closely on how you can consolidate those gains and how you can like make the best of the expansion that you've had since then. So Jupiter is the planet of wisdom, it is the planet of justice. So now that it's going retrograde, it could be that there is a little bit justice, or yeah, that there is a little bit justice missing, or like um, we have troubles expanding our wisdom right now. It's Jupiter is now looking at us and saying like, you need to examine more closely, you need to revise the expansion you've already had in order to like make the most of it when it goes direct back in February. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense. For me, it's sometimes so easy to know what a planet is doing, but sometimes translating it into human language, it's not always very easy. So, so of the planets make squares already, does that mean they cross over? Well, yeah, they can cross over, and they can like bump into other planets, for example, or they can bump into a planet in your chart that it's already been passing over when it went direct. So these are times when a planet has a different manifestation. For example, Mars now in Aries fourth house, it is slowing down now, Mars, because when it goes direct, it goes way faster. Right now, Mars has been in Cancer for a very long time. Normally, it is it doesn't take such a long time. So Mars is delaying, Mars is refraining, and it's like braking the car at a very slow pace. And once it's fully stopped, you just put it in reverse and it goes back, and it's gonna look on the road, at the road, at all the things you've already encountered, and you're seeing if you can make like something even better. When Mars slows down, we can all feel a little bit more tired, because Mars is the planet of drive and of energy, your motivation as well, your drive. So from the 6th of December until the 24th of February, Mars is going back retrograde, which means we all need to rest more. And Mars has another another outcome. It can be a little bit out of control whenever Mars goes retrograde, because it is, I think, every 2 years it goes retrograde, so it doesn't happen very often, and it's a very, very important time whenever he does that. So, hi, Crystal. We have another Pisces Sun and Aries rising. Wow, that is so funny for me to see the comments with people having the same characteristics as me. So they always say your vibe attracts your tribe. So that's so beautiful to read. Thank you. And yes, it is crazy. We have like a very this right now is a very weird moment in time, because normally everything moves direct, retrograde, and then back direct. But like now Mars is going retrograde, and all the energy that we've been feeling since September is gonna stick around until February, March. So it doesn't happen a lot that an energy sticks with us for such a long time. Normally it's very changeable, and it happens fast, and it moves, and it has its cycles, and it changes. But now we're like all a little bit stuck into this energy until March, April next year. And at the moment when Mars is going to turn back direct in February, a few days later, Venus is going to turn retrograde. So these are actually all rare things going on right now in the sky. And with Pluto at this 29 degree for the last time, and Capricorn, it's going to make its big shift towards Aquarius on the 19th of November. Yeah, a lot of things are happening that we haven't seen before in our lifetimes, and we will never see again in our lifetimes as well. So it's a special time. It's a very interesting time. And that's also why I've decided to try to speak and share more about this special time with you guys. So, okay, next sign. Next sign is Taurus. I love Taurus, but this full moon is going to be a little bit of a bummer for Taurus right now, because it's happening in your 12th house, and the 12th house is like, it's the unseen realm. It's a very special house, a very elusive house. It's very difficult to grasp. It is like all the things we cannot physically touch. So it's like our dreams, our addictions, our self-sabotaging behavior also falls into the 12th house. So for Taurus, it's very important to like look more closely at your addictions, at the ways you've been sabotaging yourself, gain more insights about your defense mechanisms as well, because they could be hindering you. But whenever a full moon happens in a house, it's a time of letting go. So maybe you're going to release something right now, because the full moonlight is illuminating what's no longer okay for you to go on with. So break the karmic chains that bind you is applicable for here as well. So also 12th house rules the past. So yeah, a little bit of the childhood issues could pop up, and they can be reviewed in order to be let go of right now. So mommy or daddy issues, old patterns that resurface, that can be released right now. So opposite is your sun in the 6th house, and the 6th house is your house of health and your job and your service towards others. So whenever we have the 12th and the 6th house axis coming into play, it means balance out your physical and mental health right now. It's very, very important, because some psychological issues could weigh heavily on the body. And whenever you break through some patterns or addictions, if you quit them, that then flows beautifully towards the sun, and gives like a better health in general. So changes could occur in these areas. I'm gonna look at the comments. Hi, Harriet. She says she's a Taurus, Sun and Moon and Saturn in the 12th house. Wow, that's very, very special, because whenever you have a Moon in the 12th house in your natal chart, it is being said that you are very much connected to the unseen realm, and that you're actually a medium. So you can actually talk to the people who crossed over. You are very, very intuitive. You can get a lot of messages through your dreams as well. So that is very, very special when you have a natal moon in the 12th house. Okay. So yes, so for Tauruses, Mars in the 3rd house. 3rd house is siblings, riding on the road, your nephews and cousins, writing, speaking, thinking, your brain, the way how you speak or use your words are all found in the 3rd house. So with Mars here, that could create a little bit of tension until February. So be mindful how you speak towards others. But the 3rd house with the Mars there could also indicate a fight or conflict with a younger sibling than you. So yes, 3rd house is also your neighbors. So maybe you're sick and tired of your neighbors, or maybe they are too loud and you're like sick of you, or a little bit angry with your environment as well. That is also one of the possibilities. So, but with the moon in your 12th house, and then the Pluto squared to your ninth house are your beliefs, your spiritual beliefs. It is actually, yeah, your belief system. It's also the house of higher education. So with the third and the ninth house axis coming into play, some changes need to be made in your belief system. Squaring the 12th, if you let go of bad behavior, if you let go of certain addictions, if you stop sabotaging yourself, you can change the way how you think, or how you view things as well. And it could also mean if you let go of bad behavior and you make space for a better job, because it's opposite the sun in the 12th house, and yeah, opposite is the moon in the 12th house, sorry. You make like space for being of better service towards others as well. So that is actually beautiful. It's really, I'm gonna pop up another question. So what does Mercurius means in the 12th house? Yeah, Mercurius in the 12th house is the planet of speaking, of thinking, of communicating, and the 12th house, which means Mercurius is also the sign of the brain, and it just means that you're speaking, or your brain is more naturally inclined or connected to all the 12th house matters. So I need to look at your chart, because if your Mercury makes bad aspects, that could mean that you are talking badly to yourself, and in that way sabotaging yourself. But if it makes beautiful aspects towards other trines, it could be like Mercury is also working, so that you have a spiritual job, or can make contracts, or your brain is more inclined to think spiritually, or is connected to the unseen realm. So, but that, for that to know for sure, I should look at your chart. When you have Mercury in the 12th house, you're also very, very, sometimes you hide your own thinking from yourself. That is also one of the possibilities of Mercury. Sometimes you can have like a very big blind spot in your brain, and it's very difficult to grasp. So, but it's an interesting. The 12th house is a very interesting house. It is the house of spirituality, but also the house of deception. So, not very easy. So yeah, I can make contact and feel a lot, but I think it's scary. Yes, I understand. It's a very, very intuitive house, where you are really like, your brain is connected to the other realms. So I understand what you mean with like making contact and feeling, and that it scares you. And it's just like a big step in step by step, going through the process, just doing what you feel comfortable with. And yeah, just take it day by day, and just feel through the fear, and ask yourself, what are you afraid of? Because I think you're most likely afraid of your own power. So that's something that needs to grow with time. So, Taurus, yeah, be a little bit more careful on the road, because with Mars in the third house, you're a little bit more prone, accident prone. Third house rules the road as well. So, and the third and the ninth house axis also involves traveling. So, not a great time to make any travel plans, short term or overseas, long term. Not good. Wait a little bit, and if you can, wait until Mars goes direct again, because that could be a source of frustration right now. The positive thing is that Jupiter is currently located in your second house of finances. It's your own earnings. It's the way how you work to earn money. The second house is ruled, is actually the Taurus house. So it's our five senses, what you eat, hear, smell, or see. It's an earth house. So with Jupiter there, it's going to expand your self-worth. And by expanding your self-worth, that could like expand your income as well, because those two are very closely connected for a Taurus. So yes, Jupiter in your second house could be like a new contract, a new job, a new way of earning money, expansion in your income. That's gonna stay there until when is Jupiter gonna switch to Cancer? I think June next year, but I'm not sure. July. I would need to check that to be sure. But like a good time to expand your finances. So okay, have I covered everything? I think so. Yeah, for Tauruses right now they have their Saturn in the 11th house, so they could be like feeling a little bit refrained in the friendship area, or some older friend could prove to be of a big stabilization for you on the long term. But yes, maybe you don't feel very comfortable in big groups of people right now. So next one, Gemini, Sun or Rising. So your full moon is in the 11th house of friendships, of groups of people, of communities, of your hopes and dreams, and your career gains as well. So that's a part of your chart that's been wounded since 2019 and it's been trying to heal now. So the full moon is illuminating all the wounds that need to be healed regarding to your friendships or how you are working with big groups of people or your place in it. So actually the Geminis could feel a little bit alone or a little bit like they don't fit into a group. And with Aries on the cusp of the 11th house, even though they are with friends, they could still feel alone. So that's trying to heal now, and something can be let go of. There can be a let go of a group that you identify with, or a big friend, a good friend that you are used to hang out with a lot. Something that just doesn't feel right anymore can be let go of now in the friendship section. Then it's opposite your sun in the fifth house. Fifth house rules creativity, romance, children, entrepreneurship as well. So actually by showing up in the world and being on stage, you could attract some new up-leveling in your big groups of people or in like your career gains as well, because the 11th house are the gains that you make through your career, through your 10th house. So some change with the big grand, with the grand cardinal cross can happen in that section of your chart. So don't be shy and show up to yourself, show up for yourself to the world as well. It will make a positive impact over the next few months. And like, just know all the friends that are being let go of now, they're going to be replaced by better people in the long term. So a big change in your social circle. And with Pluto in the 8th house, a lot of fears that you've been going through for the last 16 years. It's the house of life and death. So Pluto is actually in its own house. So it has a way bigger manifestation. So the 8th house is shared finances, your resources that you share with a spouse, for example, or also what you gain through inheritance. So there is conflict now between your two big money houses, because Mars is in your second house of income. Pluto is in your 8th house of shared resources. So it's the last big transformation regarding your money of others, and money that you share. And yeah, with Mars in the second, energy wise, you could feel like you want to quit something, and the way how you earn your money, or how you make your money. So it is also a good time to change your diet for Gemini, because the second house also rules our food. Mars rules things that are harmful. So maybe you're eating some nutrients that don't really go well inside of the body. So it's a good way, a good time to let that go as well, because if you're eating harmful food like gluten or lactose or something else, that could be a little bit of a problem in the next couple of months as well. But big energies are being activated in your money houses, the second house and the eighth house. So there's like a little bit going back and forth. There's an opposition there, a little bit of um, power games as well. But the good news is that Jupiter is in your first house. So you're completely rethinking who you are. And that can give a little bit of fear as well, because it could feel like suddenly you don't know yourself anymore, because your friend groups are changing. You have this intense transit of Pluto going through your eighth house. Of the eighth house is also very occult. So yeah, with Jupiter in the first house, that will give a big shift in how you identify yourself with the world. So don't be afraid if things end for you right now, because they're not aligned for you anymore. It's intense. Also, be careful with Jupiter in the first house. Some people gain a little bit of weight during that time. So especially if you're Gemini rising, don't overeat, because you could feel a little bit stressed as well. And then people start to eat just like me. And be careful of over expansion in yourself as well. So really, really think good before you throw everything upside down with Jupiter in your first house of identification. Um, but Jupiter is making a good aspect to your 11th house. So even though some friendships could end, Jupiter is passing along to gain you new friends instead, because it's making a sextile. So next one is Cancer. Cancer moon or rising, Shia. So, Cancers, you have your full moon and the 10th house with Chiron, our wounded healer. So, there's been a wound going on in your 10th house of reputation, career. And yeah, it's been trying to heal now since 2019. And some wound that's going to be let go of now with this full moon. So, that will make a positive. It could feel a little bit hard, because it's like on top of the chart and it's like out there for the world to see. So that could be a little bit yeah, daunting for the Cancers, because yeah, the 10th house is also the house of popularity. So maybe something shifts in that area of your life as well. But something is going to be let go of in the terms of your career. And it's opposite your 4th house. It's illuminate. The full moon is illuminating your sun in the 4th house, and the 4th house is the area of the home. It's the house of the mother, and you as Cancers, you're so sensitive. It's like it's very, very very emotional. It's very watery, and with the moon opposite your 4th house of the mother, some changes with the mother could happen, which could cause some unrest right now inside of you, because the 4th house is such a deep emotional water house, and the sun now is there shining its light on it, and something is going to be let go of there as well, because your south node is residing in the 4th house. So maybe you're letting go some wounds regarding your father and your mother, because the 10th house is the father, the 4th house is the mother. So yeah, maybe you're letting go of a boss in some types of situations. That is possible, because Chiron and the North Node are healing your purpose, and something is shifting in that area of your life. So with the Sun in the 4th house, it could also be breaking agreements with the people that you live with together, or with your family. And Mars squaring in your first house, you could become angry with someone in your family or someone at work, and that could be a very big cause of frustration. Mars is currently opposite your Pluto, and Pluto in the 7th house opposite Mars could be powerful. Actually, it's very it's you try to gain control over the situation. And that's like your 7th house, you try to control your partner in some way. And that's been going on, and a big life lesson for you in the past 16 years. So now that is coming to an end as well. But with Mars in your first house, in the sign of Cancer, in fall, it doesn't like to be there. So you could become very, very angry, or feel very frustrated with your family and with your work and your partner. It's this Grand Cross illuminating house 1, house 4, house 7, and house 10. So yes, that could be a little bit emotional for the Cancers. Maybe you're taking care of a mother figure, and it just like asks, or you give a lot of energy away to your family. It takes up a lot of difficult moments to overcome. So Mars in the first house, in the sign of fall, it can be, yeah, you can be very protective over your family as well. But not easy times for the Cancers right now. Some themes and problems around ancestry, legacy, or inheritance could pop up as well. It's important not to explode over these issues, because you could react very emotional to the 4th house issues or themes that are causing challenges around this time. And with the South Node in the 4th house, there's going to be a big release happening around the family in the next couple of months. And some of you might also decide to move or to sell their house with the South Node in the 4th house. So yeah, big changes in a very fundamental part of your chart. Yeah, Mars in the first, very defending the family, very protected over your territory. So yes, that's and what also could be is like, because you have fights in the family, in that 4th house, your 10th house, your reputation could be adversely affected because of that as well. So be careful around those themes. Because if I look at this chart, the harmony between your house of career and your reputation and your home life is severely affected in the upcoming time. So major changes in your worldly success, in your reputation, or in your marriage as well. So, and if you have a marriage, there could be like a crisis going on in the marriage now, with Pluto shifting from the 7th house to the 8th house as well. And the moment it's going to come into your 8th house, someone may pass away in your family. And that can happen from the 19th of November. The good news is that Jupiter is in your 12th house section right now. And the 12th house, Jupiter in the 12th house can act like a protector over hidden enemies. So also a lot of luck in retreating, into being alone, to really like charge your batteries. find a lot of relaxation or expansion in spiritual practices like yoga, meditation. Really make time to retreat, because with all these challenges coming up in your 10th and your fourth house, it's very important that you really retreat to regain your your to calm down your emotions and regain like perspective on how you can handle those intense situations. So, but protection in your unseen realm, which is important too. Okay, Leo, sun or rising. Your moon is in your ninth house. So that is your part that's been wounded since 2019 with Chiron residing there as well. So the ninth house is about spiritual beliefs, personal beliefs, philosophies, and your religion. It also involves morals and ethics. It's also part of the ninth house. So yeah, higher education belongs to that house as well, and it's the house of the Buddha. So I like it. So a full moon, a big release or a culmination happening in your ninth house. A long-standing belief could be let go of now. Maybe you change your. If there's a changing in your faith or in your religion, or if you are writing a book, you could finish or complete something, or complete a major chapter in your life, because the third house and the ninth house are the axis of writing, speaking, publishing as well. So you could take on or finish a course that you've been taking. Yeah, that's. I think Leos are very, very tired lately because they have been grinding for the past 16 years with Pluto in their sixth house of service and work, and having to listen to your boss and making sure you're just making sure everything is okay. And it's like Leos, yeah, they need to rest, because with Mars in their 12th house going retrograde, it's really, really important for them to just be calm, be relaxed, take time to do fun things as well, because with such an intense Pluto transit in the house of service towards others and in the house of work, they have been working and grinding non-stop for the past 16 years. So that's gonna change soon. It's just one more month of this energy, and until then it will shift. So the third house, your sun and moon in the third house, of siblings, aunts, cousins, nephews, writing, speaking, thinking as well. And that makes a square to the Pluto in your sixth house. So actually, what you're thinking can stress you out a lot as well, because the sixth house is traditionally ruled by the sign of Virgo, and Virgo is stress. It is the nervous system. So try not to overthink too much, because that will give you like a big amount of stress. It is time to chill out, to rest, because with Mars slowing down in your 12th house, it's really, really important to make sure you sleep well, because sleep and dreams are also related to the 12th house. And whenever Mars goes retrograde, they can feel extra tired. They can have more frequently bad dreams as well, or feel when they wake up that they're not rested yet. And Maison de Normandie, yeah, she's Leo. She's working a lot. Yeah, I know all Leos are been doing so much work, and it's like a never-ending story. I see Pluto almost in the seventh house. Does that mean ending in relationships? Yeah, well, it doesn't necessarily need to be, but when a divorce is taking place, that is most likely when Pluto enters your seventh or your eighth house. But to say that for sure, I would need to look at your personal chart and see at what as to look at the aspects that it's making, because Pluto in the seventh house could also mean a very big transformation in how you relate towards your one-on-one relationships and how you relate to your marriage. So Pluto in the seventh house could very well mean that there's gonna be a lot of big transformations happening in that area. So I need to look at different aspects, at what rules your seventh house, where is the ruler of your seventh house, which aspects do the ruler of your seventh house make. So that's not, I cannot say that for sure. It's like different depending on your unique chart pattern. So don't freak out. Pluto is also a very slow moving planet, so you get ample of time to like integrate its lesson. And yeah, it can be a crisis in a marriage, but as long as you transform it and release your controlling behavior or your dominating issues, then it could like just cause a big transformation. So so yeah, with Mars in your 12th house, a major turn in the spiritual focus. You could take like a course or educate yourself about your spiritual self-undoing, about your coping mechanisms, and like really try to find the hidden or the blind spots over the next couple of months. And with Pluto in the sixth house, take some extra care for your pets during this time, and a service towards someone others that you've been doing for the past 16 years could end as well. Or a colleague that's been trying to dominate you, those teams can end within a couple of weeks as well. And with the Pluto square to your third house, you may want to change your neighborhood, or maybe have some sort of crisis with a younger brother or a younger sibling, maybe a little bit of tension in that area. And when Mars is in the 12th house, be careful on the road as well. Third house, the road, your sun is there making squares to Mars in the 12th house. The 12th house rules prisons and hospitals as well. So just be a little bit more mindful on the road so you don't end up hurting yourself in any way, because of the tension aspect being placed in those houses. But yeah, your third house is very activated, so projects like writing or social media or other types of writing or speaking are very, very good for you to finish or do around the time of the full moon. And just be sure, because third house is also online and social media, that you don't get into an argument about a belief system. The ninth house square Mars, your 12th house, don't argue over a certain belief, or maybe other people arguing with you about a certain belief. If that comes up, just know it's because of this square aspect going on, and just let it go. And also, don't watch negative content before you go to sleep, because that could otherwise really pop up during your astral travel or when you are dreaming in the dream world. And with Mars in the 12th house, you could also like break some sort of addiction. So that's also a possibility. And the lucky planet Jupiter is currently to be found in your 11th house of friendships, social circles, your elder sibling, or people who are like aligned with your spiritual point of view. So Even though some people could oppose their view, you'll find luck and like-minded people with Jupiter going retrograde in your 11th house. But those people could only maybe pop up when it goes back direct. So that might take a little while. Wow. I'm gonna drink a little bit. I'm thirsty. Oh my God. 2 weeks ago, I had a car accident. My car is broke. Okay, and you are a Leo. Sun sign or rising sign? Yeah, it's like the cardinal grand cross affecting your third house. And like we have some other transits going on right now, which means that everyone needs to be a little bit more careful when driving. I feel like a lot of people are not really focused when driving. They're sometimes with their heads in the clouds a little bit. Oh, so you're a sun sign, Leo. Okay. Then I would need to check your rising sign, because maybe you have Mars in your third house and maybe you're a Taurus rising or something like that, because things that break, that most likely has to do, excuse me, with Mars or with Uranus, something suddenly breaking. Okay, the next one, Virgo or Virgo Sun, Virgo Rising. So, hello, my fellow Virgo risings. I'm one as well. So, we are having our full moon in Aries in the 8th house, which is, yeah, gonna be honest, a little bit intense. But the 8th house is an occult house. So, it can also like manifest in a very energetical way. And the full moon in the 8th house is also the place where Chiron is and where our soul wounds has been trying to heal since 2019. And the 8th house is also known as the house of life and death, a big intense transformation, intimacy, reincarnation. It's also the place where legacies or inheritances come forward. And it's also the house of secrets and fear as well. So it's actually a house that serves as an entry into the spiritual realm, but the spiritual realm of Scorpio. So 12th house, 8th house are very mystical houses in astrology. So it could be with the full moon in the 8th house that something will be revealed that maybe has to do with the solar eclipse on the April the 8th. Something that's connected, something you have not been seeing since then will now come in and shine its light and could like really reveal something to you that you maybe don't wish to see. So 8th house, so rules money from others, joint finances, resources you share with a spouse, inheritances, big chunks of money. It's actually money that you don't have to work for yourself. So Chiron is here, so there's a wound around money that you don't own. Virgos can be very self-critical, and whenever someone gives you money or something good comes forward, Virgos can automatically go in their mind like, I'm not deserving of this. So that is actually what is highlighting this moon right now. Yeah, it's like good things come our way, but do we feel deserving enough to like take them on with our both hands? Very important wound that's healing right now. So it's also questioning you, Chiron and the full moon, about how do you use money. Are you investing it in wise things? So yeah, wounds around shared finances and how these shared finances are being used. Also wounds regarding intimacy, like are you fully opening up to your partner, and are you really letting him in as well? Because Pluto is in the 5th house. yeah, and the fifth house of romance. So I think a lot of Virgos are very, are not very capable about really letting someone in for the full 100%, or they could like to keep control about the other person because they're afraid to get hurt a little bit as well. So what's also connected to the eighth house are debts. So we have debt from life and debt, but we also have debt like credit card debt that also falls under the eighth house. So maybe something gets paid off right now. Maybe you're making sure all your credit card debts are gone. That would be a good way to work with this energy of the full moon. Um, so yeah, could indicate inheritance because yeah, our big two money houses are affected, the second house and the eighth house. Maybe something changes in the way how we make money. Um, yeah, maybe a positive salary increase could happen as well. But then we have Mars in the 11th house. So that could indicate a conflict with a friend or with a big group of people, or our friends are in need of money and ask us to help them. Our friends could be very emotionally reactive right now. There could be a little bit of a disagreement with a sibling older than you. And all of the emotions from your friends and your older sibling could be very intense until the end of February as well. Opposite of Mars, we have Pluto in the fifth house. Pluto is a planet of intensity, so maybe a little bit conflict around children if you have children, or money regarding your children. Maybe one of your children asks you to support them in a bigger way financially, and it's difficult for you to really give that type of money. Yeah, so maybe big conflicts with children around money. So houses 2, 8 are money houses, but 5 and 11 are also money houses. So we have the Grand Cross affecting all of our money houses. So a Grand Cross wants change. It's even though it comes with its challenges, some changes imminent in our money sector of our chart, and all the money sectors actually. So increasement of our resources, we could maybe win money, of gain positive benefits from career matters, because Jupiter is currently in the 10th house for you Virgos. So your career ambition could deepen during the next 6 months, or it could give a gain right now because of some seeds that you've planted in the during the solar eclipse in Aries in March. And that's actually funny because I'm a Virgo rising, so I'm also talking to myself right now. And like the first live videos I've made with Meg were 7 months ago. So seven months ago was my first live video with Meg, and now we're like half a year through. So I'm like reaping the benefits and the rewards of what I've invested back then. So big shout out to Meg. You've been such a great guidance for me. So I'm very, very grateful. And if you haven't checked her YouTube channel yet, it's linked in the comment section below. So make sure you look at her channel. Thank you, Meg. So Jupiter in the 10th house. Yeah, it's an increase in reputation, an increase in popularity, an expansion in your house of career, reputation, or your social standing in the world. Just be sure if you're trying to become self-employed or something like that, that you don't take too much work on your shoulders, because Jupiter can really over expand. And in the 10th house, the house of career and work, that could literally mean too much work being a very, very big weight on your shoulders. So the next sign is Libra. Libra, sun, moon, or rising. Okay, mostly sun and rising. You have your full moon in the 7th house. And with you Libras, it's a little bit different because, yeah, Aries are I am and the self, and Libras are connected to partnerships. So you have your full moon in your house of partnerships, and it's in Aries, so it's like a little bit of a contradictive energy. Aries are very independent and very on their own, but Libras, you are our opposite sign, like the opposite sign of Aries, and they really need someone or a partnership or a friendship to be able to like express that ego. So Libras can get a little bit triggered during this full moon about people who are authentically themselves, because their Chiron resides in the 7th house of partnerships, and that's like a wound that's been trying to heal. So your sun in the 1st house, your ego shines in the house of self-expression, and it makes a square to the 10th house of reputation. So be careful about expressing your ego in an unhealed way or in a negative way, because you can be a little bit triggered by that, and that could give a little bit of conflict in your reputation or in the outside world. So the 7th house, where your full moon is falling, is the house of marriage, partnerships. So something could be let go of there right now. So let's look more closely. You have your Pluto in the 4th house. Is it? Yeah, in the 4th house. So Pluto for the last time going through your 4th house. Big transformation can be made regarding your family. Something can be let go of. It could end a partnership actually as well, because Pluto and the moon are squaring. So the 4th to the 7th. Some relationship could be let go of, a one-on-one relationship, someone you're very close with, that could like re-identify you in a whole new way. Or something within the marriage can be let go of. It doesn't necessarily mean the relationship itself, but some changes will come through into the house of marriage. Chiron has been trying to heal that wound since 2019 regarding your close relationships or your business partnerships, and also your clients and your audience. That's also falling in the 7th house. So you can ask yourself, how can I feel more confident? How can I be more confident in those areas? Something being revealed about the close relationship can happen as well. Or an important female could enter your life during this time that has a positive effect on your life or your business, is one of the possibilities. And with your sun sitting in the 1st house of self-expression, but in the sign of Libra, the sign of the other. So this contradictive axis is more difficult to interpret, because, it's just like being a little bit of reversed. So a new contract could be made as well with your sun in this 1st house, which by that you can re-identify yourself in a new way as well. A legal contract, something that benefits you, maybe a new business partnership, or some changes in that could like really propel you forward in your career. Mars is in the 10th house of career, so a lot of ambition and drive is going into your career and your section of being self-employed. A lot of energy and focus there. So that could give some conflict at home. because you're putting all of your effort into your reputation or in your social standing. So try to balance these two out. People at home might miss you a little bit because you're so busy with your career. Or maybe you are at home, but in your mind you're busy with your career, so you're not really there. That is something that could be one of the problems. And in that way, you will need to like make some changes in your self-expression, so your relationships can flow more freely again. Mars in the 10th house can also lead to a conflict with the boss or with a person in authority over you. Maybe some of you want to quit their job as well because there's too much tension going on. And with Mars going retrograde in that house until February next year, there could be a change in jobs as well. So big career changes and partnerships offers, and maybe a big transformation regarding the family or something having to do with the mother as well. Pluto in the 4th house could also mean big renovations. Maybe you're finishing up renovations in your home over the next few months. Pluto also trines Uranus in your 8th house. So maybe there's a death in the family and you unexpectedly inherit some money. That's a possibility as well. And the good thing is Jupiter is in your 9th house of luck. It's in its own house, so it has a stronger manifestation. So travel, a good time to travel or educate yourself, higher education, something that you study could be of a source of joy and expand your view on the world in a positive way. Okay, next one. Scorpio, sun or rising. You have your full moon in the 6th house. Yeah, the 6th house is the house of stress. Yeah, Virgo. It deals with your nervous system as well. So this could be a stressful moon for you. The 12th house and the 6th house axis. It's again your spiritual belief, your health, your service towards others. So that's a part of your chart that's been wounded since 2019. You really need to balance out your mental and your physical health. That is what this full moon is asking of you. So a wound that's been trying to heal, maybe over the take some better care of your pets as well, because one of them might get sick. And Chiron wants to heal your wounds regarding your health as well. So alternative healing methods can really help you during this time, like an acupuncturist, chiropractor, homeopathy, herbal medicine would be a good way to release the stress from the Grand Cardinal Cross. And the sun in the 12th house is shining its light on your hidden emotions, your subconscious being illuminated, self-sabotaging behavior as well. So a very big change could be happening in your mental and physical health. So yeah, really take care of your nervous system. Like Scorpios, you really need to like take a chill pill. And with a chill pill, I don't mean go into your addictions, because your sun is in the 12th house of addictions. I really mean like take something like saffron, who calms the nerves, or like ashwagandha, that's good for stress. Because Scorpios can get really intense, really invested into things, and the 6th house is your daily schedule. So maybe you're way too busy, or something in your schedule changes or need to be let go of right now with this full moon, and that could give you a lot of stress actually. So yeah, Mars is in your now ninth house. Some changes need to occur in your spiritual beliefs or your philosophy. Be careful about challenges related to travel because Mars opposite Pluto in your third house, the axis of travel. It is not a good time for traveling for the Scorpios. And with the Sun in the 12th house illuminating the bad habits or the bad parts of yourself that need to be let go of now. So maybe you're working behind the scenes on something that you will implement into your career later on. It's a good time to dig deep and release some bad habits of self undoing. So yeah, make sure you get enough sleep because with the sun in the 12th, it's important to get good rest, Scorpios, but because I think you're really tired. So with Pluto in the third house, it's a really good time to finalize a study, a course that you've been taking, um, something, maybe a power struggle with a brother or a sister is about to end, or with the neighbors as well. That's also a possibility. Um, Check in on your father as well because 12th house rules hospitals, the sun rules the father, and it's squaring Scorpio on your EC cusp. It's about to shift to the fourth house of family as well. So yeah, if you have any questions, Scorpios, feel free to ask me. With Pluto in the third house, that's about to wrap up. Final shifts in communication or on social media or something having to do with brothers and sisters and neighbors, yeah, could be ended, and that could give you like a little bit of stress. So Scorpio, really take time to rest, chill out, and try to calm that nervous system. Don't try to overdo yourself or overpower yourself. So that was it for Scorpio. And then we have Sagittarius. Shia's hair is just flying everywhere. Shiju. Okay, Sagittarius. Sun, moon, or rising. Your moon is in the fifth house of creativity, romance, children. There's a wound going on there since 2019 that's been trying to heal. So fifth house is also having to do with entrepreneurship. So full moon lighting the house up is, yeah, really shining its light on how you can like, yeah, it is shining up the wound of your creativity as well and about blockages. You could find my boy. My boyfriend is Sagittarius. Oh, Leo and Sagittarius. That is actually a great combo. You two are both fire signs. That is like very feisty. And your egos flow in a trine towards each other, which is a very healthy ego expression for a partnership. So that's lovely. So the 11th house of friendships, circles, communities, something that's about to change in that as well. Pluto in the second house, you had a very big money transformation that you are wrapping up now. 16-year cycle of a transformation of self-worth and the way how you earn your money. And with Mars in the eighth house, some conflicts or disagreements around joint finances could come up. Some power struggles on how you spend your shared resources. But Jupiter is in the seventh house, which is expanding your happiness in the sign of your marriage, in the house of your marriage. So that's actually very beautiful to see. So same could be applied for a business partnership, or maybe someone new enters there in the seventh house, a new close one-on-one relationship or a business partnership that could prove of big value and big expansion in your life. And that could happen or enter in your life until the 30th, the end of April next year. So, but Mars and Pluto in your money houses, there could be like a little bit fights over money, or how you handle your money together in a marriage, or maybe something changes towards that. Whenever you have Mars in the eighth house, you need to be careful that your partner doesn't lose any money as well. Or you could pay more for your partner because there's maybe a little bit of conflict in her money or income going on right now. But yeah, big changes happening towards money, and towards your groups of circle and your creativity or your entrepreneurship in the world. The fifth house also rules children. So if any Sagittarius have children, they could release something or release a wound regarding their children as well. Then Capricorn, you have your full moon in the fourth house of the mother. Some wounds regarding the mother have been trying to heal. Natalie says my husband is Gemini and Capricorn rising. Okay, so he has the full moon on his rising. He's gonna feel more emotionally than you're used to, or some he could really show his emotions better, or his emotions will be more difficult to hide, is maybe a better way of putting it. So fourth house rules traditions. It's about domestic spaces, the family, your roots. It's your ancestral lineage as well. So the North Node is putting our focus there for Capricorn, and Chiron has been trying to heal the wounds related to the family or the ancestry lines. So yeah, full moon illuminating the fourth house is addressing the mommy or the daddy issues. Most likely something has been healing with the mother, because the fourth house is ruled by Cancer traditionally, and there we can find the mother. It's a very deep and emotional house, the fourth house. It's very, very watery. And yeah, final endings can take place in the fourth house as well. So maybe something that's been going on for a long time finally gets ended, and some wound regarding to that gets healed by letting that go. But yeah, something that's changed with the parents from 2019 is now evolving. You have been having the eclipses in the fourth and the 10th house axis for the last year and a half. Yeah. So yeah, big changes in the career and the home area. Maybe something in the family happens, and that's why something in your career gets changed as well. And also important, like how do you feel at home in your home? That's also important. Some might like to move as well with the North Node there. Yeah, and something also could be revealed in regards to your family. Or maybe you're gonna let go of a home or someone who lives with you. That could be a possibility as well. Or maybe something in your family changes, and that's why people look at you in a different way with the sun in the 10th house, because it's also the place of social standing. And with Pluto in your first house, wow, like Pluto is gonna leave your first house in a couple of weeks, and you're gonna feel a big weight being lifted off your shoulders. So that's actually very, very positive news for the Capricorns. It's about time after the 16-year cycle of crises in your sun or rising sign, which are very, very, very intense and very transforming. So, Pluto is squaring your fourth house of home and family. So, really, it's about finding a home where you belong and let go of family that doesn't accept you for who you are, actually. That's been a lesson over the past 16 years. So Pluto and the Moon also make contact with the seventh house of partnerships. So maybe there could be some disagreements being dragged into the marriage because of something that happens in the family, because the Moon and Mars are going to square. Maybe one of the parents is causing a little bit drama that could be happening as well with the square to the Mars. And there could be like a separation of a divorce or some kind happening, but that can also be a physical separation is possible, but that doesn't mean you're gonna like split up. It could be like because there is problems in the family with the wound and the full moon in the fourth house, that you maybe need to take care of one of your parents, and because of that you can be physically together with your marriage partner. That could also be like a source of tension. So yeah, maybe you need to help out someone in your family. And Mars also rules the brother, so could have something to do with the brother. Hi, Laura. So nice to see you. Yes. So the brother could come into play into the family drama a little bit as well, or some conflict with the brother gets released. That's also a possibility, and that could like lighten up the bond or make you closer again after the challenge is overcome. But Mars in the seventh house can mean disagreements with your opponents as well, as the seventh house also rules open enemies. So if that happens, just know that it's because of this Mars energy that's going to retrograde back into the seventh house until February. But the good news is that Jupiter, where is Jupiter in your chart? It's in the sixth house of service to others. Yeah, in the sixth house of work and health. So Jupiter right now is acting like a big protector in your area of health, but it can give a lot of overexpansion. When I had Jupiter in my sixth house, when it transited there, it was like I had so much work to do. I had I was overworked. So if you're looking to work a lot, that could be positive. But for me, I have 4 planets in Pisces. I'm more like a more chilled out person, or like to do things on my own terms or on my own time. And Jupiter in the sixth house is a protector of your health, which is very beneficial with the upcoming eclipses in Virgo that are gonna come later. But like yeah, Jupiter in the sixth house can be a lot of work, but also a lot of new work opportunities coming your way that could give you a more sense of that they can actually make you happier in the long term if you have Jupiter in the sixth house. So if you have new offers for work, it would be wise to look more closely at them. They could give you a lot of happiness and a lot of yeah, fulfillment in the long term. So Aquarius. Full moon in the third house. Yes, third house, siblings, cousins, nephews, neighbors, speaking, communicating, learning. It's all part of the third house, and your wound has been residing there since 2019, so that's been trying to heal. So it's associated with communication, your immediate environment, and short distance travel as well. So maybe a wound regarding a sibling or a neighbor has been trying to heal. Maybe you finish a writing project of a course that you've been taking. Good time to publish something or get published. It's also a crisis that could happen towards a younger sibling, or maybe some conflicts with the neighbors could occur as well. And with the sun opposite in the ninth house of spirituality, religion, publishing, philosophy. So the Grand Cross is activating the 12th and the 6th house axis and the 3rd and the ninth house axis. And like these axes could have, could be a little bit more subtle in their manifestation. Because with Pluto in the 12th house, you've been undergoing a very big transformation for the last 16 years in regards to your spiritual enlightenment, awakening. Like some crises made you awaken. You had no choice, so that could feel very intense. That's gonna end now on the 19th of October. So Pluto in the 12th, very deep enlightenment through crisis. And now Mars is going to make an opposition to that. So you could feel the last conflict of that 16-year cycle culminating right now. But you're going to feel it very strongly over the next couple of weeks. The last big awakening in the unseen realm could take place, and it's going to be accompanied by some challenges. But Mars in the 6th house of work, of health. So Mars is very driven and very driven to work. So to all my Aquarius risings or Aquarius suns, be careful not to, be careful for burnout. Don't be your own slave driver. Also, don't try to maintain a workout schedule or go to the fitness when you feel stressed, because your body could feel so tired that when you try to work out on top of all the work you already have, that could be that could cause an injury of some sort. So don't exhaust yourself, try to remain calm, and don't overdo it until March, when Mars is going to go back direct. A crisis could occur around your work, because the 6th house is the house of work as well. And that could really affect your physical and your mental health. Maybe a change in your daily routine needs to happen with the Grand Cross affecting all of these areas. So Pluto in the 12th house opposite that indicates deep soul work you've been doing over the last 16 years. And maybe also some surprises from overseas countries could come through, because that is also part of the 12th house. And your sun is in the 9th house, which is also related to foreign countries. It's making a square, but it's making a contact. So something in those realms of foreign countries could pop up as well. Related to communication, maybe you hear from a friend that lives on the other side of the world, and he has some very big news for you, which could start a new enlightenment. These axes are more subtle, and you really need to pay attention to really feel what's going on. But with the full moon in the 3rd house, it's a good time to publish something, to release something online that will get an audience in faraway places. So maybe some of you really want to quit their job to go traveling, or for educational purposes as well. That could be a theme as well. And like Jupiter is in your 5th house, of creativity, fun, games, gambling, romance, children. It's also the house of the spotlight. So actually, you need to put yourself out there. It's a good time to show yourself to the world, expand your entrepreneurial quests. Winning some money is possibility as well. And if you have children, this could be a very lucky time for them as well. So next one, last one, Pisces. Pisces sun or rising. Where are all my fellow, no, I can't say fellow Pisces because I'm in Aries, but I have 4 planets in Pisces, so that's why. You have your full moon in the 2nd house, of money, resources, self-worth, 5 senses, very grounding, very earthy house. 2nd house rules the 5 senses: touching, eating, smelling. And the eclipses since 2023 have been affecting your money house and the way you earn your income. So a transformation could have been made during that time. The moon is opposite the sun in the 8th house, so your 2 big money houses are affected. Sun is your shared finances, money from taxes, inheritance, shared resources with a spouse, money that you didn't work for. So there could be a big increase coming over the next 6 months, because in March next year we have another eclipse falling in your house of income, so that could actually be very positive. I'm gonna look for Natalie is saying, I've been self-employment from 2023, but in how do I say that in English? Like I have a main profession, but I'm taking on a side profession, an extra profession as well. So yes, Natalie, are you? Yeah, you're Pisces, right? So yes, self-employment is very, very positive because with all these factors eliminating your 2nd house, actually already since 2019, that something tries to heal there. So now some culmination, some ending, some completion could take place in your money sector houses. And Natalie says she wants to become fully self-employed by 2025. Yes, that will be. I'm gonna look if that's with everything going on. Yes, actually, you're gonna notice a big shift until March 2025. So I guess if it goes like this and if it keeps going in the right direction, like now for you, it will be definitely possible, and I really hope that you succeed. But to say for sure, I would need to look at your personal chart. But I wish you the best, Natalie. Being fully self-employed is such a dream. So, and Pisces, they are so intuitive. They know what they need. So, and they can like really tap into the unseen realm. And working for a boss for a Pisces, that's not ideal. Okay, Natalie, I can see you're sending other comments, and I'm gonna respond to your message as soon as possible. So, Pisces, what else do I see? Yeah, Pluto is rounding up its 16-year cycle in your house of friendships, your group associations. So I think the last big completion of the cycle is taking place in the next month. So yeah, big shift in the house of how you feel at home within your friendships, in your community, in big groups of people. Um, but most important for Pisces is that they could also gain money through taxes or some kind of a sale or a discount. Something is going to be handed towards you, a type of payout in the next 6 months. And with Mars in the house of children, there could be some emotional outbursts in children, some fights with them. And if you don't have children, that could manifest in the area of your romance. It's also not a very good time to begin a new romance now. It's not a good time. Better to wait. The fifth house rules romance and attraction, and the seventh house rules long-term commitment. So with Mars in that fifth house area, making squares to all the other planets, it could be like a little bit controlling right now. Even though normally Mars in the fifth house could really grant you a new partner or a new attraction, love attraction, because Mars is the planet of attraction and sex as well. But with all these adverse aspects going on and the opposition to Pluto, if Pisces encounter a new attraction right now, that could be someone that's very, very controlling. So watch out for that. And then, yeah, with Pluto and in the house of wishes and dreams and hopes, dreams could get a little bit shattered or could be intense. Older siblings could be try to dominate as well. But it's really like in the next month, breaking free from a group that you've belonged to, or breaking free from a type of community. But Jupiter is in your fourth house of family, so maybe the gift or some payout that's going to be handed to you is going to come from your fourth house of family. That's possible. Maybe it's something to do with land as well, because real estate is part of the fourth house as well. So maybe you're going to be placed in a position where you can buy land or expand your real estate in some kind. And if you are in a position to do that, now would be a very good time and would prove to be very, very bountiful in the future. And if you're not in the position to buy lands with Jupiter in the fourth house, Jupiter can act as a protector in your house of family or or over the people that you live together with. You can have an expansion in your house that you live in, or expand to a bigger house. So, or maybe a father figure could help as well, because it trines the sun. Yeah, it trines the sun. Yeah. Maybe a father could be of help, because the sign of the father is in the eighth house, and eighth house is the house of money that you don't have to work for, and it trines Jupiter in the fourth house of family. So maybe some Pisces are going to be gifted some money from a male figure or from a father or father archetype. Or make money from inside your home. Work from home is also a possibility. So yeah, I think that's it. I want to thank everyone, especially if you're still here now after such a long time. If you have any questions, you can just send them over. She is putting so much here on my lap, but you don't see it. Okay. I thank you everyone for watching, and yeah, just see you next time. Bye-bye.